Hello and welcome to Disc Golf Examiner's coverage of the 2017 Ironwood Open. This takes place at the final round of Slippery Rock. I'm joined today by my co-host Adam Couture. Adam, how are you doing?
Good, Brian. How are you doing?
Fantastic. Can't wait to show some footage today. There's some really great footage here at the course. And Adam and I are also joined by one of the gentlemen in the video today, Chris Warfield. Chris, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you guys?
Great. And I'll tell you what, this was such an interesting day of disc golf. I really had a lot of fun covering you guys. And as we see here on the screen, we have Jeremy Martin, Chris Warfield, Ben Creger, and Cody Dockrill. Jeremy's from Blasdell, New York, Hudson, Ohio for Chris, Columbus for Ben, and Akron for Cody there. And so we'll go ahead on to hole number one. You'll see where everybody's placed. Chris, you have a nice lead there with 3 strokes.
Yeah, I played a solid first round that really kind of jumped me ahead of everybody. It was really helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is a par 3 hole. I believe it's in the B position.
One of the best starting holes on disc golf. You got the nice calm pond and quite the headwind here.
Yeah, absolutely. Looks like tree's going to catch it, but not quite enough.
Yeah, it was a little windy to start the round.
Yeah. Ben up, giving it a good rip.
It's good to note that Ben is playing this course completely blind.
Yes. In the wind, and this course itself is pretty brutal, but in the wind, it's absolutely nuts.
Jeremy with a solid shot.
Actually, I believe Jeremy threw OB there into the water.
Yeah, Jeremy ended up hitting the same tree that I did. He hit it a little lower.
Cody, however, is going to have a really great drive there. We'll have Chris throwing from the one. I believe this is the white.
Yeah, we actually thought Cody's drive ended up OB because we couldn't see it beyond the cattails, but we got up there and it was about 20 feet away from the basket.
Yeah. Jeremy's going to throw out. It's going to go a little bit long. I think he stays inbounds there. He's going to have a long putt for 4.
It's definitely one of the harder drop zones. It's very, very touchy, especially with the wind.
Oh, and he nails it. What a putt to nail right there. Really impressed by that putt by Jeremy. Chris, you're looking at a little bit of a downhill putt here. Probably about, what, 30 feet just inside the circle?
Yeah, it was about circle's edge. Yeah, I'm thinking Cody's already right there. I didn't want to give him too many strokes, so I had to make this one.
Beautiful 2 there by Cody. That's a hole that if you can get into, man, you really did a lot of work there.
Yeah, it's an excellent way to start your round.
So we're moving on to hole number 2, which is a par 3. This is in the C position, I believe, which is 394 feet. This is a little bit tricky because you have OB on the left-hand side.
OB parking lot as well.
Yes. Oh, and look at that wind do some crazy things to Cody's disc.
Cody was talking a lot about that disc. He said it's his overstable destroyer, but the wind was doing some funky things that you'll see in the rest of the round.
Right there, there's a
Pittsburgh tumbleweed rolling across the fairway.
Ooh.
Chris, there's a force there that gets a lot of turn.
That wind is definitely making those discs look flippier than they are.
Yeah, we had a very strong headwind on this hole.
Very tricky upshot with the OB right there.
Yeah, you're going to notice the wind down towards the basket is a lot stronger than the wind where you guys are at the moment. And you gotta be very careful there because you do have OB on either side of the basket. Laying up, smart choice.
Mm-hmm.
Jeremy, I think, might be the closest of everybody. Ooh, just off the side of the basket. And just watching that wind there, it's really picking up. We probably saw about a 15 mile per hour steady headwind there, which gusts into the 40s. And unfortunately, Ben's going to take an unfortunate roll OB. He'll set up again.
That was hard to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just kind of caught the top and
Stop. We've all been there.
Yeah, I thought this one was going back out of bounds as well.
Yeah. It's not the way you want to start a round, but it's all about just finishing that hole, moving on to the next, getting it out of your mind. There we go.
Even this is no gimme with the raging, swirling wind.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was a little concerned that I left my upshot a little too short after watching what happened to Ben.
No harm, no foul.
That's right. So we're moving on to hole number 3, which is a par 3, and I believe this one is in the C position.
B position.
Oh, it's in the B position.
It's actually in the B, yeah.
Yeah, which is 370 feet.
This is a really tough green to reach on this
Yeah,
hole.
it's surrounded by OB, actually, right? It's you pretty much have to get it within the walkway there. Cody throwing around the trees. Going to come back and going to land in the fairway.
Yeah, if you end up short of the sidewalk, you end up throwing to have a drop zone shot. So it's essentially an island hole. But the island is pretty massive.
I think I might have lost Chris's disc somewhere there, but he's going to end up in the fairway as well.
Yeah, it's a little bit wider than I wanted to on this hole, but it's really tough to get the birdie on this hole in this pin position.
Jeremy's going to throw up straight up over the trees, and he'll be to the left of the bush over there. And Ben's going to throw right at it, I think. I think he sees that gap. He's just going to go for it. Ooh.
Oh, man.
Great drive.
Yeah, he took a nice sidearm wide and should give himself a circle's edge putt.
Seen Jeremy make some nice putt today. I think we're going to see a lot more from him, even in this wind.
Yeah, he was putting great in this wind.
You know, I actually saw him putting with a dagger.
Yeah, I think he puts with the Dave Feldberg edition daggers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Right now, I think everybody's
really
gonna.
cool.
Ben's gonna go for the basket here. Although in this wind, it's tough to judge. Just a little shy.
Not the easiest two, but not the worst three to take.
No, it's definitely not a bad hole to take a 3 on.
What about
And everybody will click their threes and mosey on over to hole number 4, which is the fun one. It's a par 4, 459-foot hole. It is over the pond, and this makes for a very fun hole because you're all the way over on the yellow box.
Yeah, they actually they lengthened this hole. This basket was in a new pin position about 70 feet to the right of where the old pin position was. So now you're throwing over water even more if you're going to go for the basket.
That's true. You probably need to clear 500 feet plus to get over that pond the way that the straight shot.
Definitely making it more of a par 4. Cody with a good safe drive as well.
Yeah, nice smart shot there from Cody with the destroyer.
There it comes. Almost. Yep, right across.
Hung it out a little wider than I wanted to, but ended up being in a good spot.
Jeremy throwing into those trees. Hopefully he just catches it. And just an unfortunate roll, OB.
Oh, man.
Yeah, we couldn't believe that this one had managed to find its way out of bounds after where it hit.
Ben throwing low across the water. And smart play. Tombstone.
Provisional.
Nice and safe.
Yes. Jeremy's going to throw his shot here. Ooh, ooh. It just good kick. Unfortunately, that's going to go OB now. I think he wanted it to skip off the road coming back. Unfortunately, it did not do that.
The wind does some weird stuff off that road.
Yeah, the wind was swirling on this hole.
And Cody's going to take a little bit of a risky route here. Going to try to throw over that pond and have it hook up back towards the basket. A low ceiling. It just clips a little branch, but hey, it's safe.
Yeah, that was an interesting line to take from that pin or from that spot.
Yeah, risky, but pays off for him, I think.
I'll give him a putt.
Good up.
They probably have some bad footing here with those rocks.
Yeah, it was a little weird.
Are you laying up, or are you going for that all day?
See, that is, I want to say it was a layup, but it came close to going in, so I'll say I was going for it. I was still about 100 feet away.
Oh, Ben's giving it a run. Oh, just a little long, but you can tell he had that line.
Yeah, we all thought that one was going in.
You can pay attention to those flags behind Jeremy there and on top of the basket. like Cody's got a headwind here for his third shot. He's gonna wait for that car to pass, I believe. Oh, and that wind was coming right at him. I think it just kicked him out of that basket whenever it hit the chains.
Yeah, he had one of those wind gusts going up to about 40 miles an hour on that hole.
Yeah, you got to make sure it gets in like Ben did just there. Not a bad 4 at all. So we're moving on to hole 5, which is another par 4. This, I believe, is in the C position, which is back behind the guardrail. It's 503 feet. The soccer field to the right is OB. This is one of those cool holes where you can't tell where your disc went. And as the camera comes back in focus, Chris has landed a little bit more to the right of the shot there.
The bigger arms kind of on the building there to try and cut some of the fairway off.
Cody's going to throw around the building, cut that corner, and he'll be shy of that windmill. Ben's throwing a lower line, and that's going to pay off. Look at that. Great drive. Jeremy throwing over the building. This is going to go a little straighter, and he's clear of the OB.
Yeah, it's really all about the second shot on this hole. It seems with what's usually a headwind, it seems that the shot kind of plays a little longer than it actually is, but
yeah, there's sort of an optical illusion to it as well. You do have OB on the other side of the basket, which is the water there. I do not believe the walkway is OB.
no, it is not. Probably one of the easier holes on the course, as long as you get around the corner.
Yeah, that guard rail does add another element to your putting game, though. Chris will be looking at the basket. Nice.
He was quite surprised to go long after everybody else came up pretty short.
Ooh. Ben just a little shy of that basket. That guardrail definitely plays with your head a little bit.
Really.
Oh, a nice putt there by Cody. Just gotta put that guardrail out of your mind. Aim straight through it. Just like that. Great putt there by Jeremy. Chris is just going to tickle the left side of that chain. All right, we're moving on to hole 6, which is a par 4. It is in the B position, which is 737 feet. This hole is kind of a monster, right, Adam?
Yeah, you're throwing pretty uphill almost the whole way.
But a beautiful
And-
shot. I mean, if you see the waterfall there to the right and the windmill in the distance, as well as the stadium.
Cody gets an awesome wind push.
Yeah.
Jeremy going with his beat up defender, trying to turn something over here.
Chris, what are you throwing here?
I'm throwing ESP Force. I actually threw this disc on, I think, probably the first 5 out of 7 holes.
Is that because it's very good for the wind?
I just have a lot of trust in this disc. I know what it will do. It's been in my bag for a long time. So I'm able to control it to what I needed, what certain winds. So
Cody's going to throw up over the OB. With Jeremy, still got a ways to go. Going to crush a disc.
yeah, he really got a hold of this one. He really threw a smash, and it's hard to get up by the basket and 2 on this hole, and I think he's punting. So
yeah, unfortunately, I didn't quite catch it there on video. But looks like you're going to go up over the OB as well a little bit there.
yeah, that tree was kind of in my way, and I didn't want to do a full reach back, and it just kind of messed up my rhythm. Let it go a little early. Ben with a nice sidearm.
Nice run. Cody's going to lay up as well.
Yeah, it's just kind of a 3-shot par 4, you know, just drive, lay up, and take your 4.
I think Ben's going to try to make up some strokes here. Beautiful second shot there by Jeremy.
Yeah, he really pumped that one. It's been hitting all over the basket. He was real close on that one.
Made a lot of nice putts that day.
Yeah, he did.
And it's fine for falling for him and a third of the way through the run.
Everybody will drop their putts in and move on to hole number 7, which is a par 5. This one is in C position, I believe, and it's 783 feet. This one's just a huge monster hole. This is this is the elephant that everybody talks about on this course.
Unless you're Paul Macbeth.
Well,
Yeah, this is definitely the hole that we all dread going to play. Cody throws a nice little safe layup shot there.
so I think everybody was joking about going over the OB, but Jeremy's going to run it.
Yeah, he really crushed on that. I think that's a Biofusion Defender.
Wow.
He really crushed that.
Yeah, he was smashing those all day.
What were you thinking here, Chris?
I kind of wanted to follow him, and I pulled it a little too far to the right, and it caught those limbs.
But I mean, that's that same force again that I've been throwing on all the holes. So
It's very deceiving too, because you hit those trees and think, okay, I can drop right over, but those trees are still probably 20 feet from the
yeah,
edge of
those
the fence.
trees are a ways away from the fence line. So unfortunately, it didn't give me a really good lie here to throw my next shot, and I was out of bounds.
So you're thinking just try to get it over that OB up the hill a little bit more.
Yeah, I'm thinking just try to cut the corner as much as possible without hitting a tree in the OB and going OB again.
Go OB a couple times.
Yeah, it definitely happens. But that time it did not, and landed further up the hill. Ben's going to come around that corner with a big Annie shot. And I think the wind just sort of like catches it right there and says, sit down.
Yeah. Along with this hole being tremendously long, we had a ton of wind on this hole, too. Especially up at the top.
Yeah. It was brutal, that's for sure. And as you'll see, once the camera comes in focus there, it's hard to get past. There's like a wall of wind right there outside of those trees.
Good.
Jeremy has a beautiful out.
Yeah, that was a great forehand out of there. Still got a long ways to go up this hill.
Yeah, I think this shot exemplifies how steep this hill was.
Yeah, I threw this as hard as I could, and I probably only went about 250 feet up the hill. Or so it felt like.
It was a beautiful day, though, I gotta say.
Oh, yeah, we had 60 degrees. Definitely not like previous Ironwoods. That's for sure.
Yeah, I imagine everybody's still a little bit soaked from the previous day, though.
Oh, that was a long day in the rain, that's for sure. Cody with a great third shot there.
Unfortunately,
There
the
we
camera
go.
has a
Third
little
ball.
bit of trouble focusing whenever the sky and the sun are pointed directly at it. So, but Jeremy's going to have a good shot there. He'll have a putt. Nice skip up and a little bit of roll. You got to feel pretty good once you're up to that second hill, right?
Yeah, I was pretty happy just to be pretty much done with this hole at that point. Little did we know we'd have to play it again 2 hours later during the skins match.
Jeremy's going to give it a long run. Oh, and thankfully it lands on top of the hill next to the basket there. Cody's looking at about a 15 to 20 foot shot here uphill with this wind. It's brutal. And he nails it.
Yeah, that was a great birdie for Cody there.
Yeah.
I actually think at this point in the round, that birdie puts us tied after 7 holes.
We'll take a look at the score right after everybody putts out. Beautiful view from up there. But that wind has got to leave you a little bit nervous still.
That made me a little nervous when I saw it bounce back off the pole like that.
Yeah. So there we go. You are tied up, and as we move on to hole 8, I believe it's in the B position, which is 370 feet. Kind of hard to tell which position this is in, but it is a par 3. You are on top of the hill here. Adam, as somebody who has thrown this hole in this type of wind, What's it like?
It's very hard to stick because one of two things happens. That happens, and you don't get the hyzer back. Or if you throw it too straight, you can get a little bit of push way down left into nine's fairway. Very hard green.
It's
Yeah.
tight. It doesn't look like it's that tight, but it is.
Cody actually threw a monster there, which is a very overstable disc, and it just went straight. So you can really tell how the wind is blowing out there.
That was a beautiful drive by Jeremy, by the way. It's about pin
Yeah,
high.
great drive. Looks like Ben's following Cody there.
It's not too difficult if you land on the side of the hill. If you end up all the way down at the bottom, it becomes a pretty difficult upshot.
And the wind just pushed this straight down and then started playing with it a little bit out of my hand.
And though that is not snow coming across the screen right now, those are just leave a little bit of cattails or something in the wind there.
Dust.
It's pollen of some type.
Yeah, this time last year it was actually snowing on this hole.
Yes. Jeremy's got some gnarly wind. Man, you can just hear it coming through the microphone. He's like, come on, I gotta do this? This is crazy. Look at that flag on that pole right now. It's just constant. Yeah.
Yeah, that flag was really ripping there.
It's almost like the wind was just waiting. Oh, you're done putting? Okay, I'm gonna fade now. Great putt.
I've still seen more wind at this course. This isn't the windiest it's ever been.
Yeah, I think we're all kind of just happy to get our threes and move on from that wind fest.
Yeah. So we will move on to hole number 9, which is a par 3. Correct me if I'm right, guys, or if I'm wrong, guys, but it's in C position?
I actually think it was in the A position. The C position is a little bit further back down the hill.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it definitely felt like C position in this wind.
Yeah, for sure. And so it's kind of funny the way the wind kind of plays with your mind a little bit. You think, okay, well now the wind's coming from the other direction. I'll just throw exactly what I did up there and it'll go right. But that's not the case the entire time because you now have this wooded area to your right. So you don't have as much wind out there, but at the end of the fairway is where the woods stop, so you have more wind. It definitely plays with the way that you think whenever we have wind like this. Chris looks like he's going to go for that sidearm. Ooh. It looks close there.
The wind did a lot of weird stuff on this hole.
Yeah. It's kind of like throwing discs in zero gravity. This looks like it's about 60 feet. Ooh, just off the chains. Good putt by Ben. Cody's going to give it a second. He has some players on hole 8 playing through. And then make his putt. Jeremy will do the same. So we're moving on to hole 10, which is a par 3. This one is in the C position, which is 297 feet. This can be a very tricky hole sometimes.
Yeah, you've kind of got two options here. You've got the wide forehand out, or you can really just go straight at it, but the gap is much tighter.
Great upshot, or great drive there by Ben. Unfortunately, Chris is going to catch an early tree. You can just see the flag. This is where it starts getting rough.
Yeah, for anybody watching who hasn't played this course before, we're now probably at the highest point of elevation on the course.
Jeremy's going to have a really tough time in that. Whoa, and a beautiful putt. 25 feet in that wind. Great job. Cody's laughing a little bit about it, I think, at this point. This is probably 50-mile-per-hour wind right here, or getting close to it. And you just have to, what, lay up? What do you think? What do you do? You go for it if you're Cody Dockrill. Great putt.
Yeah, that putt was actually to take the lead on me through 10 holes since I had hit that early branch. So he'd come all the way back to take the lead.
Unfortunately, that wind was coming straight at you with that putt, and I think it just knocked it right out of the basket. So move on to hole 11, which is a par 5. And
yeah, I put that a little high, but
we're moving. It's a 915 foot hole. It's should be in the B position there. This is a long hole. This is a long hole with a lot of OB on both sides, and I hate to say it again because it's been the story the entire time, but that wind is going to play with your discs out there. As Cody looks like he just threw OB onto the road there.
Yeah, according to Cody, this is his most overstable destroyer in his bag, and it just started turning as soon as he threw it out of his hand. So
Jeremy's going to get slip out of his hands right there. think Ben's trying to go out and come back in. Unfortunately, I think the wind pushes this down. It got to the top of the disc and pushes this down instead of getting underneath it and pulling it back inbounds. So all you got to do here, Chris, is throw inbounds.
Yeah.
Come on.
I was a little worried mine was head towards the out of bounds.
All right. Good skip, and it's in.
There you go.
Perfect.
Yeah, I got a little lucky skip off that path there.
Yeah. This will be good up shots. Boy, this hole is just so long. It's really tough whenever you go OB on it. Yeah, be out into the fairway. What's your thought here, Chris? Just on this hole in particular, do you try to play it a certain way?
This hole is very, very tough hole. Off the tee, I try to play a nice straight hyzer, and then I don't really try to go aggressive across the OB here. I try to hang it out as wide as possible and give myself a look for the birdie. But it's just so long and so windy right now that, you know, it's really tough to get that 4.
That was an interesting upshot there by Cody. The wind caught his disc, and Jeremy's going to do something similar here.
Yeah, I believe both of them stayed in bounds, though.
Yes.
I'd say consistent 20, because 15 is like a light route.
Ben threw a little lower to the ground. Looks like he had a nice little bit of wind catch underneath it. Take him a few extra feet. Looks like Chris is in the tall grass. He has a long look at that basket.
I was throwing my most overstable TI force here. As you can see, that wind's kind of whipping off the flag.
Not too bad with that wind. Pretty close to the basket there. Cody with that wind. Boom.
Right next to it.
Great upshot. Jeremy is very close to that OB.
Yeah, he was definitely flirting with it.
Great upshot by Ben. Oh, fortunately, chain out there for Jeremy. Cody's gonna give this a long look and bang the chains.
That was a great putt.
Yeah. Those were two really great putts that he just made in that wind. He's on fire. Great.
Yeah, he definitely saved a great bogey from where he went out at.
Yeah.
And that actually, my birdie there tied us back up, so we've been just kind of throwing strokes all over the place at each other.
That's right, and we'll see what happens on hole 12, which is another par 4. This is in the B position, I believe.
C position.
C position, which is 830 feet.
Yeah, this hole was playing very, very long today.
This is one of the most fun shots you'll throw, though.
Yeah, I was expecting some really wild stuff to happen. Luckily, you guys know what you're doing. Looks like you threw your most stable stuff.
Yeah, this wind was really hollering off this hill.
Cody with a low drive.
Talking to Matt Rozier before this hole, he said every card that he watched, just everybody we left. So at least everybody's consistent.
And Jeremy with a great drive.
Yeah, he really smashed that one.
Ben hanging out a little further right than most people. He's going to land perfectly center in the fairway. It's hard to catch these discs in that sky. I believe, yeah, there he is. Cody's going to land probably about 50 plus feet from the basket there.
Yeah, he just kind of let the wind get under that one.
And unfortunately, I don't think I catch Ben's here. Oh, there he goes. He's going to be about 50 feet as well. Ooh. Chris is just going to catch up right there. Probably 60 feet inside the green there. I think Jeremy's is up. There he is, inside the green as well. Corner of the green. You have a wicked headwind here for Ben. And right there. As far as your putters go, did you pull out your standard putter there, Chris?
Yeah, I putt with the Pro D Challenger, and I've been using those for probably about 4 years there.
Do you find that they're helpful in the wind?
The Challenger is decently stable. I'd say it holds up in the most winds. If it gets too windy, I'll pull out the zone and start putting with the zone. And the zone's a very overstable putter.
And even a 5-foot putt, you got to stop and just make sure it's going in.
Yeah, he got a strong gust of wind. You could see it on my shirt there that just even anything loose is blowing.
All right, so we'll move along to hole 13, which is a par 4. I believe this is in C position. Is that correct, guys?
This one is an A.
A, which is 471 feet.
Plays about 600 feet.
Yeah, it's all uphill. You do have OB on the walking path to the left. Great drive there by Chris.
Thank you.
Cody's going to give this a nice rip. Ooh, wind got underneath that. Oh, beautiful drive. He is, I think, just to that crater. Jeremy as well. Wow.
Yeah, he smashed that one again.
Oh. Unfortunately, Ben's going to clip the side of the building there.
A little bit of grip block action.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say this is probably the easiest par 4 that we play today.
Definitely plays much easier in the shorter pin.
Great upshot there by Jeremy. Cody's going to have a good putt here from just outside the circle.
The wind really started picking up. I remember this hole specifically. He's talking to it.
Yeah, it's straight headwind too.
And then right when he went to putt, the wind completely stopped.
Yeah, that was nuts.
I ended up pulling out my zone for this putt because it was so windy.
Sometimes you need to, right?
Yeah.
All right, so we're moving on to hole 14, which is a par 3. And this would have been in the C position. Am I correct, guys?
I believe you are correct. On the side of the hill.
312 as far as footage goes. All you needed to do is hook up there. Nice drive by Chris. I think everybody's going to be looking to do just about the same thing. Ooh, unfortunately, Jeremy is going to go long there.
Even the brand new, way too expensive Sexton Firebirds are getting pushed over in this wind.
This is Cody's very, very overstable destroyer again, getting just completely pushed over by that wind.
I hate to make the entire video about the wind, but really, it was the wind.
Yes, it's hard not to mention the wind on this course.
Yeah, it really is. On this day, it was a major player. Cody with a great upshot. Right. Ben gonna give it a good run. Ooh, right off the bat. And I think with that wind and with that OB there, it's just better to play it safe, right, Chris?
Yeah, it's just too many things that could go wrong here. I think I was talking to Adam actually at this point. I'm just like, I think I'm just gonna lay this one up. Just seemed like the right idea. I knew I was probably in the lead at this point, and I didn't want to risk anything silly happening with that hill and the OB.
Jeremy will putt out there. Everybody else should follow suit. So move on to hole 15, par 5. This is in the C position, 773 feet. This is the toughie.
Yes, this one's tucked way back into the woods.
You do have OB, which are the ball fields, and that OB has been pushed out further than before, so it is just that much tougher. You just want to end up somewhere in that fairway. Oh, beautiful drive by Jeremy. Wow.
Basically, as long as you're not too far left and kind of near the light poles, you'll have a good second look.
Ben giving it a good rip off the box. Unfortunately, that wind just sort of bats it down. Chris will be right outside the tall grass for his second shot, and Cody's disc went over the OB. Where'd he, oh, there.
Flirting with that OB.
Yeah. I want to say 70% of the flight was OB. And look at this upshot. Wow.
Yeah,
Jeremy. Whew.
He really played this hole perfectly to this point. He's making this hole very, very easy, and I can assure you it's not.
That's quite an arm Jeremy has there. I wonder what would have happened if had it not been as windy. Looks like you have some trees to contend with here, Chris. You thinking going up over top of them? What's your thought process here?
Well, I saw this route to the left that I could probably try to flex something through, but it's just a little too risky at this point in the round, and I'm just trying to go up over everything, and if I get lucky, poke through and have a putt. If not, it's just easy par. And poke through, and I should have a little layup shot from there.
Yeah, you have a look at the basket. It would have to be a long putt, maybe 80 feet.
Yeah, I'd say about 80 foot, 90 foot putt.
So there you see the basket. There we have Ben in some trouble there with the trees, but he makes his way through it. He'll have a putt from there. Great upshot.
This was the point where Chris and Cody were going back and forth for each other to run it.
Yeah. And Jeremy here would have had a shot at any other pin placement other than the one that we have.
Yeah, wow. He would be slightly past the A pin and just looking at about a 20-footer on the B pin. But still, that's a great drop-in birdie there for Jeremy.
Ben's at about circle's edge here. Good putt. Everybody else drop in. And we'll move on to hole 16, which is a par 3. This would have to be in the B position. Am I correct, guys?
Yes, it's in the B position.
Yeah, 277. Very interesting. There's multiple ways you could play this. You could play for the straight Anheuser shot. You could play for an over-the-top Heiser shot. Jeremy. I catch an early tree, but he'll be in the main path there. Chris, you're going for the pro route.
Yeah, I'm gonna make this a little bit difficult for you to film here.
Yeah. Up and around all those trees. I don't think you're going to see where it lands there, but it'll be to the left of the basket. Probably.
Yeah, unfortunately, I drifted a little bit left and probably had about 80 to 100 feet to the basket.
Cody, I think, is going to go straight at it with an Anheuser. Yes, and he hits the gap. Oh.
He threw a great shot here.
Wow. That is a great shot by Cody Dockrill.
I believe he actually ended up about 40 feet deep. That's how good of a shot it was.
Ben with a pretty good shot there as well with that sidearm.
And Ben will have a look from there.
Unfortunately, there's just so much woods there.
Yeah, this shot was a lot trickier than it looked for only being 100 feet away from the basket. And I was lucky to poke through everything.
Cody actually blew past the basket more than I thought. His disc probably did a little skip and roll. But he's outside the circle there, but he's gonna look. He's unfortunately going to go just past it. Now, the footing there was really bad, too. There was a lot of mud, so being sure-footed certainly wasn't a big thing there. There he goes.
Good comebacker for Cody.
Everybody else should be dropping in their putts. And moving on to hole 17, which is a par 4.
Coming down the stretch here.
Yeah, absolutely. Looks like Cody's only 1 stroke behind you.
Yeah, and I kind of knew where we were at for most of the round, and I knew exactly where we were at this point in the round, so I was just looking to finish just 1 better than Cody. That's all I needed was 1 stroke.
Yeah. And, man, did Jeremy get a good rip on that.
Yeah.
Whoa.
All day, he was just crushing some drives out there.
You got to go big Annie. Flex Annie on here. There it is. Nice.
I was very happy with that drive, given the situation we were in.
Looks like y'all have the same thing in mind here. Cody with a good rip. Just kicks off the tree a little bit.
Yeah, he caught those branches a little bit and it just slowed him down completely.
And Ben, I think, was in hurry-up offense here. And he's going to get down there as well. Great drive by him. Cody just nails that gap. Big skip.
nice.
He threw an excellent second shot here. We were very impressed by where it ended up.
Oh, Ben's going to catch an early tree. Those woods are very thick through there. Did you see any good lines at all?
Actually, from where I was at, I ended up having this little flex forehand route that I ended up getting almost all the way through, and I caught this just one branch at the end.
But yet end in the fairway. That's great.
Yeah, I end up with a look at the basket.
Looks like
Jeremy
tomahawk.
following my route kind of with a thumber or tomahawk. Ben with a good forehand roller.
And now, unfortunately, it looked like Cody's upshot was a little further than this, but he's just up over that, or down over that hill there. Long run and nice upshot.
That was a great shot from where he was at.
Yeah. And everybody else is going to give this a good run.
Yeah.
Awesome putt by Ben Creger.
It's a great par save for Ben. That was pretty cool to watch.
I think Jeremy said, hey, if Ben can do it, I'm going to give it a good run.
Wow.
Bam!
Great putt from Jeremy. We were both sitting there talking. We were like, well, I'll go for it if you go for it, knowing where we were sitting. And I was like, if you go for it, I'm going for it.
Oh! Ooh.
That was a very, very weird bounce that it took.
Yeah, that was it. I think it went in, it bounced up, and then the chains knocked it out.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what happened there, but I thought that I had ended up cashing that putt in.
So on
theirs in.
On hole 18, par 4, we have you're ahead by 1 stroke, and we have a little bit of OB here to the left. This is a tricky hole if you haven't played it before, that's for sure.
It's definitely not an easy finishing hole for your round. There's no guarantees going into this hole. Everybody's just probably going to try to play a layup hyzer.
Yeah, you want to end up on that hill, and then you'll have a look at the basket, which is on that little peninsula.
Jeremy's drifts a little left there into the woods, so I'm not sure what he'll have from down there. And at this point in the round, I knew exactly what was going on, and Cody didn't want to be told what was going on and where we were all sitting, so.
Mm-hmm. You just want to end up right on the hillside there, straight ahead.
Yeah, as long as you avoid the building and you're just kind of straight up anywhere around that area, you should have an easy look at the basket.
Beautiful drive.
Some really great drives there. Ben's going to give his a run. You got to be careful because there's a parking lot over there to the right as well. Which
yeah,
is
this
OB.
is a very, very tight green to approach.
Mm-hmm.
I believe he actually hits a car there in the parking lot. Cody to put a little bit of pressure on me here. Let's see what he does.
Oh, beautiful sidearm by Cody, and it lands right next to the basket.
Yeah, he put that right there, and that kind of put a little bit of nerves on me.
Looks like that is going to be OB right on the edge of the water there.
Yeah, I was very disappointed with my upshot there. I just left it a little short, didn't throw it hard enough, and it just never got back in bounds.
Oh,
Great upshot by Jeremy.
So unfortunately, you're going to have to be on that side of the pond and run right at it.
Yeah, at this point I knew where we were at, so I knew I had to throw this in to beat him, or to tie him.
To tie him, yeah. Ben did go OB there. Have to come in and putt. Everybody else should be finishing their putts.
Cody with just a great birdie to finish the round, and just an overall solid round for him to come back and take the win.
That was a hot round, 63.
Yeah, 63, I believe -4 in those conditions. This was a great round.
Yeah, it really was. I do want to mention quickly that there was a scorecard error, but PDGA rules were followed, and these are the final scores. So Cody did end up winning the tournament by 1 stroke. That was fantastic. Good for Cody. Great job by him, you know, sticking with it there. That was not an easy final hole. So, Chris, overall thoughts of the day?
Didn't play as well as I would have hoped, but you know, I played a decent round, and Cody played a better round. So you know, there's not much I can say about that other than, you know, congrats to Cody. You know, it was a great comeback win, and good job, buddy.
Yeah, and you know, it was so much fun covering you out there. I really hope I get to cover you again sometime soon. Just as far as the tournament goes, did you have a fun time? What was your overall thought and opinion of it?
Ironwood's always a great tournament. Matt does a great job. The Pittsburgh crew, they always do a great job making sure those courses are ready. And past few years, we've had some bad weather, but you know, it's always a fun tournament, and they really make you feel welcome. So I'd always recommend going to check out the Ironwood or any Pennsylvania tournament for that matter. So they do a great job.
Yeah, I know. The past couple years, this is actually the first tournament that we got to cover last year. In our first tournament total was the Ironwood, and this is my second one, like I said. So it was so much fun to cover. I know I had a blast. Adam, you were there for the last day. How did you enjoy it?
Had a blast. I caddied for Chris. We had a good time. Enjoyed the sunshine. Watched some disc golf. Good times.
Yeah, and it was so great to be out there, and we had people coming up to Cody and I whenever we were doing a disc review afterwards, saying that they're followers of Disc Golf Examiner, and they were really excited to see us. And I just want to say thanks so much to them. You guys are the reason we keep doing this stuff. So thank you for coming up and telling us that you like it. So that's going to do it for us. Any final thoughts, guys, at all?
Thank you, Brian, for having us on air, and thank you for filming. It was a blast.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you again, Chris, for joining us, and Adam as well. So
my pleasure.
That's going to do it for us here at Disc Golf Examiner for the 2017 Ironwood Open. We really hope you enjoyed it. Remember to like us on Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube, and as always, keep banging those chains. Have a good one.